Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the cube light from a few days ago. And just for reference, this light looked something like this. We were making it out of angle iron. And let's go and draw this up. Basically, it's a cube, and we're putting LED lights in it. And we're going to cover it with some, paper on the inside so that the light can shine through and diffuse through the paper and look nice. So it's not really a strong light. It's not going to guide the way or anything like that, but it'll look nice on a table or, sitting off in the corner. And it should be a pretty cool thing to look at. So, this is our basic cube light. It is going to be made out of 1/2 inch angle iron. Again, remember to write big here. And it's going to be welded together. Now, I have a couple of things I want to look into. I want to look into the cost for materials, for one, as well as the cost of materials for all 28 of my students. So before we get too far in, let's go ahead and list my knowns and unknowns. So, first off, I have 28 students. It costs $1.29 per foot for the angle iron. And steel comes in 20-foot lengths. I also know from talking to my students that an 8-inch cube looked about right. So we're going to plan on this whole 8-inch cube. Obviously, change the math if you think a bigger or smaller cube is what you need. But we're going to look at an 8-inch cube. Alright, so things I want to know are how many feet I need per student, how many lengths of steel I need to order, for all of my students, and overage. Oh, and of course, cost. So let's go ahead and begin this math to figure out what this type of thing is going to cost. So first off, we need to know how many pieces of steel we need for this cube. That's pretty easy. We can go ahead and count. There's 1, 2, 3 in the back, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the back, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the back. So we need 12 pieces. I think that's probably spelled incorrectly, but my spelling's been terrible, so oh well. So I've got 12 pieces, and they're all 8 feet or 8 inches long. So let's go and begin. I have 12 times 8 inches is going to equal, cell phones are fantastic here. Let's pull up my calculator. There it goes, and clear. So we're going to do 12 times 8, and let's get rid of that. It's going to equal 96. And we can divide this by 12 inches to a foot and get 8. And yes, if you were ahead of me on that one, that's great. So we're going to need 8 feet per student. Okay, so In order to find out how much it's going to cost per student, I can just multiply this number times $1.29 to get the total costs. So 8 times 1.29 is going to equal $10.32. Per. Okay. So now we can go ahead and look into a few other things. So for instance, this is not going to be my end cost per student, but it's a general rough estimate. This cost does not include some of the basic things I do, like including overages and making sure that everyone can make additional if they really need to, or can screw up if they really need to. Does not include any of this. This is just the perfect world number. Well, we don't live in a perfect world, so let's figure out what we got there. So first off, let's go and figure out how much steel I need to order. So if I have 8 feet per student, and I have 28 students, I have 224 feet of steel. So we're going to come over here now. I have 8 feet times 28 students. It's going to equal 224 feet steel. Now, I could go ahead and just order that number raw, and for something like this, it would work out fine, but what I'm actually going to do is divide this by 20, because steel comes in 20-foot lengths. Divide that by 20. It's going to equal 11.2 feet. We're going to round this up because you can order 1/20 of a foot, but we're just going to round it up to the nearest length. So we're going to equal 12 lengths of steel. So that's 224 divided by 20 feet. Feet is going to equal 11.2 lengths. All right, and we're going to round this up to 20. Or excuse me, to 12. Okay, so we know we're ordering 12 lengths. It still really doesn't account for overage. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. We've got the length of steel needed for all students. Now we're going to take a look at overages. I like to use the number 1.25. 1.25 takes this number and adds an additional 25% to that number. You could do this a couple different ways. Again, I go 12 times 1.25 and get the number 15. You don't want to do it that way? That's okay. We could go 12 times 0.25, which will give us 3. And then we have to add that back into 12 to get 15. Either way works. I like mine because it's a bit faster. So if we go 12 times 1.25, let's go and label things, lengths, and overage, factor, we get 15 lengths of steel. Okay. Now I need to know what that is going to cost me if I go to the store and order that. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. 15 times 20, which is 20 feet of steel per length. It's going to equal 300. So 15 lengths times 20 feet is going to equal 300 feet. And then we'll multiply this by 1.29. times 1.29 is going to equal $387 total. So that gives us our total cost, it gives us our overage, gives us the length of steel needed for all of our students, gives us some material costs per student. But this number is now different, so we're going to have to calculate that too. So to do that, we go $387, divide that by 28 students, and we get $13.82. So $13.82 per student. All right, so this is the basic type of math I go through every day to try and figure out what type of materials costs I'm looking at for a given project. Figure out what project you want to build. Find out how much material it's going to cost or take. Figure out what that material costs and how it's sold. Take all that into consideration and figure out what your total cost is for a given project. Then, if you are going to make multiple of these, figure out what the total cost per project is, because you can usually save a bit of money. In this case, it's costing me a bit more to make this project than I was originally planning, but that's because I am planning on people screwing up, making mistakes, cutting things too short or too long, and in general not quite doing it as well as I might do it myself. You have the advantage of doing it for yourself, so you won't make those same mistakes. So your costs will come closer to this, maybe a little bit less because you're doing it in bulk. My cost is going to be closer to this because I'm counting on student error. Anyway, this has been Mr. Hilbert, and I do hope you have a great night. Go ahead and like and subscribe over here and watch more videos over here. Have a great night.